Today we are going to show you and compare Lake Coeur d'Alene, Hayden Lake, and the Spokane River so you can get a better idea of which one you might prefer.
There's a lot on the menu, and each body of water offers a different lifestyle. So we're going to hope to give you the bullet points you might need to narrow your search.
Welcome to Luxury Homes North Idaho. I'm Sarah Cline.
I'm Greg Rowley. We're in very tight quarters here as we're on a tram headed down to the waterfront today.
We are here at one of our new listings, gorgeous home right on the water, Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, this is 7190 Rockford Bay Road, and what makes this house really special is that it's literally 3 driveways away from the back gate to Black Rock. So a lot of people may not want to live behind the gates while they're enjoying the golf course because the allure of waterfront living is so great, and this is that home.
Another thing we were talking about before we started shooting was that people that come and aren't as familiar with our area get into Coeur d'Alene and they think they're going to find stretches of white sandy beach.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the case.
Yes. Shangri-La does exist, but it's fewer and further between than you might think. And I wrote about it in a magazine article a couple years ago that my experience selling waterfront has been that it can be almost a 2-year process. And many times people come to town and they are expecting to find a white sandy beach with no neighbors in sight, right next to Costco, and meet their budget. And those, they don't exist for the most part.
Yeah.
Certainly not in the budget that some people might expect or hope. What's a lot more likely is people will come in one summer, sometimes actually leave disappointed because so many of these homes, like the one we're on today, we're on a bluff and it takes a tram to get down to the water, and that's unexpected at times.
But very common.
Mm-hmm. Or if the sandy beach exists, your neighbors are right next to you and you know if they're cooking bacon for breakfast. Or you might even drive through somebody's front yard to get to your cabin. A little bit of the Wild West when you get to these cabins around the lake, or the distance from town is greater than expected. The lake itself here on Coeur d'Alene is 26 miles long from the northern tip to the southern tip. And if you're on the east side of the lake, that can be nearly a 45-minute drive to get to Costco. Here on the west side of the lake, it's a little easier access with a straighter shot on Highway 95. But the point is that when people come initially, it's a little bit jarring to see what's on the menu and the concessions that you might have to make that you wouldn't have otherwise even considered. Mm-hmm. And then when folks kind of get their head around that, leave without having made the purchase that they were hoping to have made when they came to town, and then come back again the next year with a different perspective and a better understanding of how the various options look and work. That's when the purchases tend to get made. That's not to say people don't show up and buy a house.
Sure.
But it's a little bit of a lengthier process than some people I think are prepared for. And it's not just Coeur d'Alene. There's the Spokane River, there's the north side, there's the south side, there's Hayden Lake, and there's so many other bodies of water as well, rivers, creeks, streams, small lakes. There's a lot going on here, and to sort of absorb all that and figure out what's going to suit your lifestyle and budget is a bit of a process.
Yeah, and that's not to say, that's a big reason why we're doing this episode is so to help you set expectations. As Greg mentioned, it's not to say that those sandy beaches don't exist, but
we're going to show you one later, actually.
Yes, we will.
And kind of fun. It's actually mine. I married the right girl who inherited a property on Hayden Lake with a white sandy beach, and we're going to go get our toes in the sand there here shortly.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what can we tell people about, so where we're at right now, we're on the lower side of the lake, farther south, about a 30-minute drive from Coeur d'Alene. Near Harrison, which you talked about earlier, which can be fun. What else would you say about location, access?
If you look on a map, we're actually kind of exactly halfway from north to south. We're at 9 o'clock on the map.
Okay.
halfway down the west side of the lake. Really easy paved access from Highway 95. That's a 4-lane U.S. highway, and the speed limit's 65. She said 30 minutes. I would argue, I think it's closer to 20. But real easy access. That's something to consider.
Absolutely, especially the west side of the lake compared to the east side of the lake.
Yeah, and there's this ongoing debate between the west siders and the east siders. And as the sun sets, those folks on the east side of the lake will be staring into the evening sun. Obviously, they'll see the sunset as well. But those can be hot, having that setting sun. We have really long days in the summer, and they can get really warm. They call the west side of the lake the dark side because we have shade in the evening on this side of the lake. Personally, I prefer the shaded areas because I have a body built for winter, not summer.
But good to be aware. I mean, it's a real point. Yeah, it's fair. You need to know what your preferences are. And,
yeah, well, and the access is just much easier and quicker here on the west side of the lake. That's not to say there aren't incredible homes on the east side.
Because if we go due east, same distance, how long do you think it takes to drive from Coeur d'Alene?
2x, 2 times as long to get, you could get there quicker by canoe from here than you could by car from town, I think.
There you go. Yeah. So access is important to consider.
Yes. Currently at BlackRock, the rules to become a member of the club do not require real estate purchase within the gates. So this home was actually built by Edward Smith Construction by a BlackRock member, and there's nearly a duplicate house of this up the hill within the gates. They both were built at the same time. But being so close to campus and not technically behind the gate, you can still then join BlackRock and enjoy the amenities there and
take your golf cart
up. In fact, I showed the house on Saturday to a gentleman who met me here in his golf cart.
Perfect. Yes. So that's the life. Greg talks a lot about how the lake life is really a thing.
It's a real thing.
And that's an example of that. That's not an exaggeration. People are getting around on their golf carts and.
And again, we'll get there later at Hayden. I'm very lucky, very blessed. We live on the golf course, and we keep a boat slip at the country club. And so I can golf cart to my boat to my cabin back, or boat back to the club, and golf cart home again. And to do all of that it's
a good life.
What I pinch myself all the time. And the other day I was just driving home, and I was like, man, we have it good. Mm-hmm. And I was on the phone with another buyer prospect this morning, and she and her husband are relocating from Southern California. Last summer, they just took a drive and toured as many states and cities as they thought they potentially might want to buy a forever home or a summer home in. And it just dawned on, and they found Coeur d'Alene, went back home. Friends talked about the town. It sparked their interest to come back again this spring, and now we've got dates on the calendar for them to come visit and look for a house. But just the overwhelming sense of satisfaction I had while on the phone with her, in that I've never even thought about taking a drive to explore other states or other parts of the country that I might want to move to someday. It's a very, very satisfying feeling to know that I live in that town where people are desiring to find.
Yes, they vacation here. When you're off, you're on vacation. That's what my husband said the other day, because we're enjoying an early summer, really nice warm weather here in early May. And when you're off, you're on vacation.
I was thinking about maybe touching on the weather. It's been 70 degrees 7 days in a row. We go from winter and winter coats and mittens and gloves to shorts really quickly around here. And the trees go from bare to full foliage almost overnight. And spring has sprung, and this year has been as good as any I can remember.
Oh yeah, May and September, because it gets so busy here, obviously, in those peak summer months, July. But the lake is glass right now. Yep. It's gorgeous. It's quiet.
I think there's one boat. I see one fisherman over there. Other than that, that is a big body of water with just one boat on it. That would be heaven on earth out there right now.
Greg, if people are wondering as they're exploring Waterfront and curious about, there's all these regulations with docks, tell the people what they need to know about docks. How big can they be? If they have a really old dock that maybe needs replaced, what do they need to know?
In the bullet points, in general, a dock as determined by the Department of Lands, the IDL, can only be 700 square feet of surface area, and how you choose to configure that is up to you. Okay. As we look up and down, you see some that have a dedicated boat slip. This happens to be an L-shaped dock. Many people on the main channel of the lake, you'll see with these boat lifts to get their big expensive boats up out of the water when they are not in use, to just help prevent any wave damage if it rattles against the dock. So this is a real common thing, these boat lifts. They're solar powered, so there's not a whole lot of maintenance required. But 700 square feet. Now, obviously, you can't just have a plank that goes out in the middle of the lake as far as 700 square feet will take you. So it's got to be close to the shoreline. But,
and so with this one, do you know approximately how big this one is?
Oh, this is maxed out. This is the full 700.
The full 700 square feet.
And pretty much everyone does that. You don't leave any square footage on.
But to give you an idea, I mean, that's plenty of room. You could put a table down here, some chairs, enjoy meals, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and there are other rules. You can have family docks, and they can be larger if you have contiguous parcels and things. So if you have any questions, definitely give us a call. We can help walk you through that. But the most common configuration is a 700 square foot dock. And this is a little bit abnormal. Most people have a boat slip, V-shape, U-shape within the dock so they can put a cover over it. This particular homeowner chose not to. And I kind of like it because it gives you more space for, as Sarah said, for table and chairs and a hangout venue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so even though we're taking a tram down and the homes are set up higher, so you enjoy a really nice view, but once you get down here, you're still able to walk into the water, go for a swim, jump off your dock. Beyond those things, there are other fun places to explore.
Yes, we mentioned it in a previous video. There are 13, 14 restaurants that you can get to here on Coeur d'Alene by boat. Mm-hmm. As far south as One Shot Charlie's, where you can get that crappy beer. I've had a couple of people comment and ask me about that.
Where do I get that? Yeah.
Where do I get that? One Shot Charlie's down in Harrison. Right around the corner from where we are here is Rockford Bay, where Shooter's, a very popular summer destination, boating destination, is located. Carlin Bay is a little bit north. That place kind of goes off in the summer with, I mean, imagine boat in to live music.
Yep, you've done a great job over there.
How good is that? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you can get to town. The restaurants in town, you can park there, side tie there at the world's largest floating boardwalk.
That's right, true.
So, as opposed to Hayden, which we will talk about in a minute, Coeur d'Alene has an aspect of destination boating, more so than Hayden. It's just a larger body of water, and the lake itself is fed from the south by the Coeur d'Alene and the St. Joe River, and then the whole lake flows north and then spills out the Spokane River, and it ultimately connects to the Columbia. There is a dam in Post Falls that controls we call it the pool level of the lake. And so the gates open wide in the fall. They draw the lake level down to prepare for spring snow melt and runoff. And then once the lake level rises again to its proper pool level, which it is to an inch, exactly where we like it right now, they'll close the dam down to control that level again. So the lake level does fluctuate about 5 to 8 feet from peak summer to dead of winter. And in some cases, they actually unhook the docks and store them in a deeper part of the lake so that they don't run the risk of being damaged by ice along the shoreline or being held at a funny angle all winter where they're kind of half in the mud, half half in the water. The dock builders will probably hate that I'm about to say this, but I don't even know if they need to be stored. The whole thing might be a racket. I don't know. I have to pay to store my dock in the winter in Hayden. I haven't sustained
Someone look into that, please.
I haven't sustained any damage. I don't know if I would otherwise, but nonetheless, this dock just got replaced this week. We're first week of May. The docks are back. We'll start to see the boats come back here soon, and here we go, summer in Coeur d'Alene.
Absolutely, yeah, out here on a beautiful, calm day. It's nice and glassy out, but what, if people aren't familiar, what do they need to know about, you were speaking to conditions as far as, does it get choppy? Is it obnoxious when there's crowds and all the boats? Like what can they expect if they do choose to make this their home?
Crowded is an overstatement. The lake is kind of like a T, and the top part of the lake nearest the resort is definitely kind of the touristy area. The tour boats and the parasailing. Yeah,
because you're right at the resort, and it's very easy to launch your boat. So from that point, everybody in town and from Spokane is coming over wherever and launching there. So it's crowded up there.
Down here at towards the southern end of the lake, it's much quieter.
Yeah.
It's not choppy per se, but there can be some boat chop on those busy July days. But all in all, it's a recreation paradise, and it's never so busy that you've got to keep your head on a swivel dodging, sailboats and speedboats or anything like that.
No, that could be the Spokane River, which we will.
We will get to that.
Yes, we will.
Yes. Hey, here we are at the Spokane River, just a quick 20 minutes from down by Rockford Bay near Black Rock. Sarah asked me earlier kind of how we break down or help people zero in on the lifestyle
where you want to be, right?
That comes with the bodies of water.
Yeah, Spokane River is very different than Hayden Lake, than Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Should have said that. We're on the Spokane River. Maybe I did, here at Belle Rive. And not to paint any of the three with like too broad a brush, but I say generally the folks along the river, it's year-round environment. People live here year-round, live, work, play.
Closer to town,
easier access to the highway, the airport. Hayden Lake tends to be more of like a heritage environment. We'll talk more about that, but locals that have a cabin there, so kind of a seasonal local heritage environment. And Lake Coeur d'Alene tends to be a bit more touristy based, second homes, and all the tourist activities. Now, again, there are certainly aspects of all of the above at all three of those lake or waterfront opportunities, but if you had to categorize them sort of a general overtone, that's what I generally tell people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was asking Greg earlier about how he was classifying the different bodies of water, the different lifestyles that come with them. We have a listing coming on. It may be live by the time you see this. Just down the way from here, we're in the Riverstone area, Belle Rive. There's a movie theater, coffee shops, restaurants, lots of activity, so very urban feeling. Got the Centennial Trail that runs through.
Yeah, we talked about it at length, really, but this whole area was lumber mill when I was a kid. If you remember the log thieves, we discussed that in one of our first videos. But you've got the Atlas Mill waterfront, you've got Mill River, you've got Belle Rive. This is just an incredible new micro market here in Coeur d'Alene with this river access. What makes it neat is we're just up from the mouth of the river, and the bridge, I don't know if you can quite see it there. Once you get under that bridge, you're basically in Lake Coeur d'Alene. So all of these waterfront homeowners on both sides of the river have access to get to the lake, and it's almost like one-way traffic in the mornings in the summer and going towards the lake, and one-way traffic coming back.
From where we are now, 5 to 10 minutes maybe to get into the lake, all the way down towards Spokane Street exit and Post Falls, you were saying?
Yeah, 20, I mean, how fast does your boat go, right? That's the answer. How fast does your boat go? But it could be 20, 25 minutes at a steady cruise from down in Post Falls, 7-8 miles.
Yeah.
talking with people all the time, what is your lifestyle? What do you want out of a waterfront experience? And one thing, a common theme that comes up from people who live here on the river is they love the excitement and love the energy. And we're so close to the water. Whereas at the lake, as you saw earlier, we were up on a bluff and a tram down, and distance and proximity can be so different. Here we're 6 steps away from the water. And so you hear the boats when they go by. You hear the jet skis. You hear the surfers' stereo playing, and everyone waves and gives a cheers and that. And so there's a real different energy to the constant movement here on the river that you don't get when you're on either of the 2 lakes. And that appeals to some, and some people, they don't care for the noise and that. So that's something to consider.
Absolutely. Like people that prefer to live downtown versus people who want space and privacy up in Hayden, just very different.
Yep.
And I feel like what's also unique about being on the Spokane River is that most of these homes, I would imagine pretty much all of them on the water, have docks. So to be in close to town and have a dock, for those people that aren't familiar with the area, you're not going to get that on. You're too far from town if you want all those things. The Spokane River is really, if you want to be in town and be able to walk to your coffee in the morning or enjoy happy hour at a restaurant, this is a good option for that.
More homes are sold along the river than on either lake. So of the just real estate production, Spokane River kind of leads the way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why is you can live year round, and even if it's seasonal, you're literally across the street from a lot of amenities that people really like.
Right, the Centennial Trail we keep talking about, but you can jump on your bike and be downtown to the farmers market. There's actually a Kootenai farmers market that they have started doing in Riverstone. So multiple farmers markets in the summer, and just that lifestyle of wanting to be in the mix, feel the energy of being in a more urban setting.
And it's pretty awesome down here too. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We're in Hayden Lake. We're actually at my cabin, and to say it's mine is a little bit of a misnomer. It's my wife's. My mother-in-law, dear Jenny, passed a couple years ago and gave this property to Jillian, my wife. She should be here actually. And so I've been coming here for about 30 years, how long I've been dating and married. And this is heaven on earth. And the point here, a long time ago, before my time, used to have a swinging sign and a fuel station out here. And so people know this part of the lake because that's where the gas pump used to be. The fuel tanks are actually in the ground right there. They still are there. They had to fill them with dirt a number of years ago. Don't tell the EPA.
Yeah.
And the basement level of the house used to be a store.
Oh, cool.
And so boaters used to boat up for fuel and like bottles of soda and candies and ice cream.
Awesome.
And so we have the old ice cream freezer still down there, and the old cash register we still have.
Yeah.
So this used to be the store. Virginia had these 3 parcels right here, which are ours. And then the other sisters each had 3 parcels. And over the years, the sisters had sold off their 3rd, but my mother-in-law kept it. And so now there are 6 other homeowners that we share this beach with. And they've been here for decades.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier in the video that Hayden is like a heritage lake. And this is an example of what I'm trying to say when I say that. They've each passed it to their family. And as the children grow up and become established and mom and dad retire and move on, it's just generations sort of acquire and continue on. And that's what we've done here. So in the 30 years that I've been around this area, one house is sold to somebody outside of the family, so to speak.
Wow, yeah.
And like grandma and grandpa, I almost said their name, I probably shouldn't, that live in this house here, like they helped raise my children. They were, pseudo parents, and it is kind of, everyone kind of keeps track of each other's pets and kids and watches out for the boats and the whole thing. And it's historic. So we mentioned earlier how unique Waterfront can be. with cliffs and the energy of the river and how hard Sandy Beach is to find. Here we are. This is, now it's spring. We haven't done our beach clean. We always rototill it, turn the sand over so it's soft sand all summer. But to find a beach like this on any of the bodies of water is, pretty rare.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why they get, most of the properties and homes get handed down through families.
Yes.
And so if you can find something with the sandy beach, it's extremely rare.
It is. To further that point, there's the Gold Coast, we refer to it here on the lake, which is the stretch of land between Honeysuckle Beach, which is it's one of 2 public access points on the lake. The entire perimeter of the lake is privately owned except for those 2 boat launches, Sportsman's Access and then Honeysuckle. But back to the Gold Coast is the area between Honeysuckle and the Country Club. And then some would debate if the area beyond the Country Club is still Gold Coast or not, and whatever. That's a debate for another day. I say it is. So put me on record for that. I have been selling real estate for 15 years. I've been here for 30. 2 homes on the Gold Coast have ever hit the market since I've been a realtor. And again, it's the same system of just, it stays in the family. We talked about this being more of like a local's seasonal lake. A good percentage of the homeowners outside of Idahoans, the largest percentage of state of origin of the other homeowners on this lake is Washington and Spokane. So for years, the Country Club was a lot of Spokane residents that came here for the summer. One thing that's just really, you wouldn't necessarily think about it, that's unique to Hayden Lake. The Country Club was founded in 1907, and Hayden Lake was the destination for decades. And this is where the rich and the famous used to come hang out.
Bing Crosby, or
Bing
is that?
Crosby,
Yeah.
That's true. I could show you where his house is. It's right around, or his old house. It's right around the corner. And during that time, Coeur d'Alene was very industrial. It was hunters, miners, trappers, and they used the lake as a taxiway for those, those hardworking industries. And then when the resort was built, they're having their 40th anniversary this year. That's I remember when it was under construction. That's where my dad took me to give me the talk when I was a kid. Yeah.
Keep that.
Keep that. That's how old I was when the resort was built. Then it really started to shift where people were spending money, and it shifted to Coeur d'Alene more so than it was prior to that. And then with the advent of the resort golf course, Black Rock, Gaza Ranch, that's when real wealth started pouring into Coeur d'Alene. But prior to all that, this was the lake. This is where you wanted to be. So there's your history lesson.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And fun fact about that reminded me what you said earlier about water depth. So you were telling me Hayden's smaller than the other, than Lake Coeur d'Alene, and
a much smaller lake. The water is about 8 to 10 degrees warmer on average. So warmer water, smaller lake.
Still refreshing though.
Oh yeah, you don't need a wetsuit in the middle of summer. Yeah. But Hayden is actually deeper. The deepest part of Hayden over off of English Point is just over 200 feet deep. The deepest part of Coeur d'Alene is just under 200, like 195 feet off of Driftwood Point. So the deepest part here is a little deeper than Coeur d'Alene. And if you really want deep water, you put in contrast to Lake Pend Oreille north of us, that is over 2,000 feet deep in some places. And that's where the Navy actually tests sonar equipment. There's submarines in that water, and that's a big body of water.
Yeah,
Lake
whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So we're south facing here. It's hilarious in the mornings. My wife loves the sun. Every morning they race down to stake their claim with their towels. We have a beach rule that you have to clear everything off the beach at night. And so they come down to all the homeowners, and again, it's only 7 families, but come down to grab their spot. And then as the sun starts to set, these shadows cast all the way across the beach.
As they move.
And if there was, I would love to have a video just showing my wife as she moves, she'll move incrementally the width of a towel all the way. And then in the evening, she's always down at that end of the beach.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So, yes. There is a swim dock that we put out. That's kind of the start of the season.
Oh, fun.
I don't know who was nominated to have to put the swim dock out this year, but there's usually a dutiful neighbor who takes care of it. I've not yet had to do that. Again, we haven't cleaned up the beach. It's still kind of early. We have our annual beach clean party around Memorial Day and get ready for summer.
So similar to Lake Coeur d'Alene, where if you're at Black Rock or anywhere with on your golf cart, you can do, that's what Greg was saying, is he's able to golf cart from his home in near Avondale, be on a boat, jam over here. So it's a unique lifestyle.
It's quicker to get here by boat than it is car, although as the crow flies, my two houses are 3 miles apart.
That's all it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's 3 miles as the crow flies. It's about 20 minutes as the car drives. And it's about 10 to 15 minutes as the boat floats, depending on how urgent it is to get out here.
Yeah, kind of windy road. So if you're looking at a map of Hayden Lake, that's something that, needs to be considered and access. As far as, when you're at Honeysuckle Beach or the Hayden Lake Country Club, obviously the farther around you go, it's going to take you longer. You'll see that reflected in price.
Yes. We talked about that, the nooks and crannies and the distance from town and services. And as the further out here you get, the price tends to be a little less because of the drive here. There are other things that also affect price. You'll see on some listings, if it references deep water frontage, that's something. There are parts, thank goodness this isn't one of them, there are parts around the lake where there can be weeds that grow. The water's really shallow, and by the end of summer, the sun has penetrated deep enough into the shallow water that there are some seaweed that grows, and that's less than desirable swimming and boating water. So something to consider. I'm not going to tell you where those places are here. I want you to call me so I can tell you. One thing that's unique about this lake, or is different, I wouldn't say unique, is this is a true mountain glacier lake. There are no rivers that feed it. There are no rivers that flow out of it. It fills in the spring with whatever melts, and it empties over the course of the summer by however many swimming suits carry water out of here and natural evaporation. So it will fluctuate a couple feet. It's not uncommon for us to have sand all the way out to the gangway. Some summers we have 30 more feet of beach than others. And it just is what it is. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about it. And some years we have less beach. This is about as high as it gets, though, honestly. So we've got family photos of us sitting on the edge of that concrete wall with our feet in the sand. So there are just some years where there's less water than others. And behind me, all this equipment, something other people from out of the area may not know, is we drink lake water. There is a pump right here. It happens to be on our property, a water line that goes out really deep to where it would never freeze. Water is pulled from the lake. It's moved up the hill to a massive filtration and storage tank, and then it's gravity fed to the homeowners. And it's actually the purest quality water of any of the water districts in the area after it goes through all the filtration. But this whole side of the lake is fed. Their water source comes from the lake through our pump, or the water department's pump, and then feeds everybody that way. So
so not uncommon on the listing if you see
lake water.
And
similarly, many of the private residences on this lake and on Coeur d'Alene will have their own private water system that is lake water. If you own waterfront property, you are allowed to have lake water. Some homes use it as their domestic water. Almost all homes use it as their irrigation water. Not uncommon, nothing to be afraid of. That is just part of life.
All right, well, to wrap things up, I feel like the Spokane River is pretty obvious how it's very distinct, but if you're wondering, am I a Hayden Lake person? Am I a Lake Coeur d'Alene person? How would you summarize? How would you know that?
I think you need to explore both, and honestly, this is an emotional decision. Nobody needs a lake house. You want one, right? And that emotion is going to tell you where to be. There's a lot to do on both, and looking at homes on both and getting a boat ride and those sorts of things. Like, there's not a quick answer.
The vibe is very different. You'll know.
Yeah, you will know. It's you'll have that feeling. Yeah, thanks for watching. We hope you got something out of that. There's a lot to offer and a lot of questions that come our way, and trying to answer as many as we can, but really it takes boots on the ground and maybe some toes in the sand to figure all that out. As always, click the link below. We would love to assist.